Welcome back to the Buds and Box YouTube channel. Before we get started, make sure you guys go check out the giveaway details in the description below, and make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. It would mean a lot to us. Now, today's topic of the video, like we promised, is why the Avalanche or the Colorado Avalanche will win the Stanley Cup this year. We promised we'd make a series out of this and make, one for every contending team. We've already made the Leafs. Now we're doing the Avalanche. Next is the Vegas Golden Knights, I believe. So, Jude, take it away.
Yeah, for sure. So just to begin, we've seen a lot of different things, a lot of adversity, and and just push through from this team. Um, and just to begin, we've seen a lot of action with that trade deadline, a lot of pickups for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Because as we all know, that team's most likely going to make a deep run. We don't want to jinx them like Tampa and Columbus, but they're probably going to make a deep run. So they're prepared for entry, just very similar to the Leafs. And they've already struck with COVID and many different injuries throughout this year. And that being said, they're prepared for the playoffs and what the playoffs can bring, and that involved picking up Johansson uh, about a month ago, and that was before the trade deadline. Johansson playing terrible for them, and that's already having Mishka and with Francois and on IR. So with Mishka playing horrible, Johansson, a new pickup, not playing well. They said, we need to do something at the deadline. Our like Grubauer's a great goalie. We all know that, but he can't handle an entire NHL season and obviously a playoffs by himself. So they had to get that third string goalie, and that was Devin Dubnyk. So I thought that was a great pickup. That's a good goalie, and that's a goalie that they're looking for. In terms of we've seen with injuries this year. Like they have pretty injury prone goalies for what we're seeing. So he might be able to debut himself like Hutchinson last year. So that's my thought on the on Colorado, and I think that's a great reason on why they're prepared for anything now, and they have a great team and a great forward and defensive depth. Ellie?
Yeah, I agree with all that. Those are good points, but you know, I think that they can win the Stanley Cup because they're in such a good division and they've already shown that they can play among the top teams in the league, like Vegas and Minnesota. Those two teams are both really good teams. When you look at some of the other divisions, it's not as strong as those, and they've been dealing with injuries and COVID and stuff too. So when you look at that, McKinnon was out for a while with an injury. Makar was out for a while with an injury. Rantanen's out right now, right? So and they're still winning games. So no matter how much star power they haven't always had it. Throughout every game of the season, and they're still winning against really good teams like Vegas. So.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part to their success, and they've built a team around McKinnon. They're one of the only teams to do it in recent history, besides the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Washington Capitals around Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin, obviously. But they built a team around McKinnon so that if he's out, if that top line is out, they're still a decent team. You compare them to Edmonton, they have Connor McDavid. If Connor McDavid's not there, Edmonton's done, right? So they have players like I wrote a list here. On top of their first line, they have players like Saad, Burakovsky, Kadri, Donskoy, Jost, just to name a few. I mean, they stacked up on their defense. They finally got to use Bowen Byram this year, and he's been pretty solid. So I mean, yeah, just one of the only teams to be successful in building around that franchise player. And then I just wanted to get into the first line. I mean, not only do you have that forward depth to back them up, but you have one of the best lines in the league. You have Nathan McKinnon at center, who's this playmaker slash goal scorer. He can basically do anything. Kind of a carbon copy of Sidney Crosby. And then you also have Rantanen, who's the goal scorer on the wing, and then Landeskog just to even out that line defensively and brings obviously that crazy leadership that everyone always talks about. He's one of my favorite players. So I really believe that with the depth, with their goalie depth, and they've already battled that adversity with COVID and injuries. They definitely have a real shot at the Stanley Cup this year. So
Yeah, just to touch on your point about Bowenbauer, I just quickly, I
okay.
looked up his stats because, he's all right, and he's not doing what he's supposed to though, by any means. I know he's a rookie and everything, but he had 2 assists in 19 games, and now he's injured, and he had 23 penalty minutes in those 19 games with only 33 hits and 21 shots. So he's all right for a rookie, but he's not going to be a big part of anything going on in the playoffs, I don't think.
Yeah, but just like
But I
adding,
agree with everything else you said. I just don't think he's going to even play a role when it comes to the Stanley Cup at the end of the day.
that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Jude,
But I agree with everything you said.
Okay, thank you. Did you have anything else before we?
Yeah, for sure. So I just had one comment. I'm not gonna let this fly under the radar because now it seems pretty apparent to me, but at this point in time, I believe that Rantanen is an overrated player in the National Hockey League.
Whoa.
I say that because you look at Burakovsky in Rantanen's place in the past 3 games, he has 5 points. He has 3 goals in those games and 3 assists in those. Or sorry, 2 assists in those games. Or sorry, switch that. 3 assists and two goals. So
Here's the
that's
thing.
3 games. All right.
Here's the thing. That's like putting someone on a line with McDavid, putting someone on a line with Matthews or Marner, because Marner, for example. So right, like Matthews doesn't have 35 goals right now if it's not for Marner. That's not to say he wouldn't have 35 goals, playing with someone else maybe, but Marner's a big part of that, right? So when you look at that, think about it. I mean, if you're playing with Nathan McKinnon, who's supposedly the second, third best player in the NHL, who's a playmaker who can really set anyone in the world up for a goal or be in the right place to score a goal, it's going to be easy to produce points. And that's the same with being on McDavid's line, right? I mean, look at Nugent Hopkins, right? When he played with McDavid, did he, Eric, this year? He was on the left wing?
Yeah, most of the season.
Right. So look at his stats shoot up, right? Just because he's playing with McDavid. Now, maybe he would do the same thing, not with him. I don't think so. But I don't know about saying overrated for Rantanen, but definitely wouldn't be producing the same way without McKinnon. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, I'm more playing the devil's advocate, and also, I mean, you look at that power play, and it's Draisaitl doing the same thing with McDavid, and I mean, you're pretty fond of that fella. You're not a big fan of Draisaitl personally. I know that.
Mhm.
So, like, that's kind of the same correlation that I find.
You know, I don't think Draisaitl's a good player, but well, not to say he's not a good player. I don't think he's like the superstar that everyone says he is, because if you put him on a different team, obviously he gets a lot of his points on the power play and when he's on the ice with McDavid. So he's a special teams guy. He doesn't make too much of an impact in the defensive zone, obviously, and then in the offensive zone. We're getting off topic here, but
Yeah, but it's easy to compare.
That's what.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
Avs
we're just
and
comparing it. I mean, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, Draisaitl to me, he's a good player, but he's not a superstar that people are making him out to be. So, could be the same thing with Rantanen if he didn't have McKinnon. But it's all what if, right? What if Matthews didn't have Marner on his line? Maybe he wouldn't have 35 goals. What if Rantanen didn't have McKinnon on the team?
Mhm.
That being said, McKinnon was injured for a while, and Rantanen was still doing pretty well. So.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say in terms of like the defensive thing with Draisaitl, I kind of see the same game in Rantanen and now Burakovsky. Most of those points that I was just talking about, Burakovsky, who's looking very good right now with playing with McKinnon, are most of them are power play points. So you could have the same argument with Rantanen that you do with Draisaitl, and that's why I like to play the devil's advocate with Rantanen.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if we're doing comparing, I think that line is most comparable to Boston's first line with Pastrnak, Bergeron, and Marchand. You have Landeskog, who is basically the Bergeron, and he plays defense. He brings that leadership to the table. Then you have Marchand, who is kind of like that McKinnon. He kind of does everything. Definitely not comparing Marchand to McKinnon, but there's some similarities. And then Rantanen is just that goal scorer, just like Pastrnak is. So. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have nothing else to say, I guess we'll wrap it up here. No? All right.
Oh.
So thank you guys for watching the Butts and Box YouTube channel. If you haven't already and you're new, make sure to subscribe for more content like this. We love making it, and we just love seeing new people here. Also, leave your opinions in the comment section below and make sure to enter the giveaway. So we'll see you guys next time. This has been the Buds in the Box. Bye for now.